sit down now, okay.
Any wedding pilaf either.
Oh, yeah.
Where's taking all the wedding pilaf?
One by one.
Okay. I can't wait.
Pariegag, welcome. I'm Susan Ounjian, and it's my pleasure to be your host for this excursion into Armenian cuisine. Yes, Armenians do love to eat, as is proven by our overwhelming hospitality when friends or strangers share the variety of our cuisine. It is also no secret that we Armenians strongly believe that our recipes, passed down through the generations, is one of the most important ways we have of preserving our culture. With the help of 4 renowned chefs from Los Angeles, we will show you how to prepare several popular Armenian dishes. For appetizers, we'll learn how to make yalanji sarma, mante, and boreg. The entrees will be doma and shish kebab. The side dishes, pilaf and küfte. And for dessert, what else? Paklava.
Oh, hi, Susan.
Hi, Maurice. Is it true that there's no Armenian word for diet?
No, we don't have one, Susan. The Armenians don't use the word diet. By the way, forget about diet today. You're going to start your diet tomorrow.
Oh,
today we're going to eat, we're going to eat paklava. We're going to make paklava together. And I'm going to show you how I do it. Then, if you have any questions, naturally, you can go ahead and ask me some questions. We'll see how things go.
Okay.
Should be a lot of fun.
Great. I see we have the phyllo dough here.
You're right. The phyllo dough is our main ingredient for the paklava. And we're going to use this, the phyllo dough. We're going to use this butter, which has been clarified.
What do you mean clarified?
Clarify what we do, we boil the butter for 10 minutes, and that will separate the milk particles and the water from the butter. See right here?
Right. Is it any kind of butter?
Sweet butter.
It
And it has to
sweet.
be as fresh as possible. Because that's the main flavor in our paklava, so we want to be sure we have clean butter, and that will raise those filet dough leaves. They separate them and give a real tasty, crusty look to the paklava. That's what makes paklava. Over here, Susan, we have 4 cups of nuts ground. I use 2 cups of walnuts and 2 cups of almonds. These almonds and walnuts were roasted to bring the flavor out. And
How do you do that?
oh, the roasting, it's pretty easy. You put on a tray, just like this. See, I put them kind of flat, the walnuts and the nuts. Then we put in the oven, 250 degrees for about ½ hour. And going down the line again, we go over. I have 1/3 cup sugar just for the nuts. We're going to mix this with the nuts. We have the cinnamon, 1/4 teaspoon, again for the nuts. Now the sugar here is 2 cups. I don't use too much sugar. A lot of people use honey, more sugar, but I like to keep it on a healthy side or a diet side, like you said. So what I do to compensate for the amount of sugar, I put some zest of a lemon and also a couple of zest of a orange.
Excuse me, what is a zest?
The
of a
zest,
lemon?
well, it's very easy. A lot of people think it's very complicated. All you have to do, you could even do it yourself, you just take a peeler like this, and you just go like this, and you're taking just the yellow part. You don't want the white part because this is bitter. So this will give you flavor and a nice aroma. So all you have to do,
The whole lemon?
no, just 3 strips. If you want to try it, if you ever peel potatoes, you just go like this in a sewing motion. See, you get a nice little strip like this. So we could put this in a syrup here and boil it with the zest of an orange, 3 strips out of the orange. Then we'll cut the lemon, we'll squeeze maybe 1 teaspoon into the water and the sugar. We have 2 cups of water here. And this will give us our syrup. It's very light. We also put, if I forget, 1 stick of cinnamon. Again, this is just to bring the flavor out. It's up to the chef to decide which way to go. I like to have some aromas in a syrup. And 3 cloves like this. And this will give a little aroma also. They're easy, they're not hard to do, and just takes a couple of seconds. We have also some egg wash, which is 1 egg yolk and 3 tablespoons of whipping cream. This will make the, again, You don't have to do it, but it'll make the paklava looks more attractive. Or one good thing will save a lot of time. The old days, like my mother used to do it, she always bought this brush because this in the store, they said this is to put butter.
Right.
This is okay, but this will take too long. What I do,
That's what I use.
just like the Americans, we like to go fast. So I'm using a big brush. This doesn't hurt, and it works perfect. This will save a lot of time.
That's a shortcut.
Okay, any questions?
So far, I'm real excited to see you begin. I do want you to know that I just did a little research, and I found that paklava comes from a very old tradition in the Armenian church from Lent. I don't know if you've heard of it, but
No.
pach means Lent, and halva means sweet. So the people that used it traditionally made 40 layers, because there's 40 days of Lent, and after Lent is over, you have Easter, so after the church service, you eat your paklava. Paklava.
Well, that's interesting. You see, I learned something today.
Right. Maurice, how can I help?
Well, you can start by getting me 3 zest out of this orange and 2 out of this one, because I just got one cut. This one looks pretty nice, just like this. Put them aside. Then when I get ready to make our syrup, then we'll put them in with the cinnamon stick and also the cloves. Okay. Meanwhile, I'm going to mix the sugar, 1/3 cup, with the almonds. And I'm going to put a little bit of cinnamon, 1/4 teaspoon, which is about this much. I'm going to mix it real good. There you go. This is ready.
Is this big enough, this little one?
Well, yeah, it's okay. It'll work
Just
perfect.
like that?
Yeah, I want to make them big because after we're going to sift it and just get the syrup out of it and throw the rest away after our syrup is made. And I'll put 2 cups of water and 2 cups of sugar. There you go.
That's for later.
I'm going to put the cloves, 3 cloves. Taste. And this is cinnamon stick. This will boil with it. We're going to put those zest inside. And one more thing we have to put is just 1 teaspoon of lemon juice. I'll eyeball it, but it's, there you go, just right. Guaranteed it's perfect. Put everything over here. We're not going to need this anymore. So this is ready. We could boil this anytime because we're going to put this on a paklava when a paklava is cold. So we got plenty of time for this, but it's how we make it. If you open this up. I always check. Go ahead.
Where do you get this from?
Oh, most of the stores, before it was only the Armenian Greek stores, but now even the large stores like Hughes, Ralph, all those stores carry the phyllo dough in their freezer department. The only thing is with the phyllo dough, we have to move pretty fast because this dries and it becomes very brittle. I'm going to do a couple of them, then you could try them too. You'll see it's not hard.
Great.
With the large brush, it's very easy, just like a painter. That's what we do. That's it. They got one
Nice
ready.
shortcut there.
All right, it'll go real fast. Those are nice. Every so often you'll find one that's broken up and everything, but don't let that bother you because you put so many layers, they will go. By the way, I'm using a tray is 17 by 12. Those sheets are 17 by 12. But as you go up, this is tapered. You're going to have a little gap on this side and this side, so I'll alternate. I'll push one sheet this way and one this way, so you don't have any open spots. And this, okay, now I've got one. I put the butter again.
Well, you can't have any phone calls while you're doing this.
No, no. You have to put your recording on. So I'll call you back in maybe half hour. There you go. Now, a lot of people, my mother used to always say it's a waste of time to put butter on each layer. She used to cut the dough and pour the hot butter right on it. And she said it would go between it just as easy, which it does. But using the butter to raise those phyllo doughs. And I want to be sure that the butter is there. You don't have to put too much. This way, use a lot less. You used to use 2 cups for this 1 pound of phyllo dough, and we're going to get away with 1 cup.
Oh, I see. Does it matter if it's tearing?
No.
Like that?
No, when it's cooked, you'll never know. When you're eating it, you'll never know. It's very fragile. You try to straighten it as much as you can, like this.
And it will dry up. so
Oh,
you-
yeah, you'll just sink in because you're going to put more. What I usually do, again, that's up to the chef, I put about 8 sheets roughly. You don't have to be a accountant to keep track of it. You could put 10, 6. Then I put half of the filling, and I put 4 more. I put the other half. Then I put whatever's left on top of it. But I don't forget every time to put the butter.
So
Now I
8 layers is all you're going to work with now.
Right, 8, then we'll put the filling in. See, like this. You don't have to put too much, it's just enough, perfect. It'll taste just as good. Okay, now we're going to put half of the filling, just eyeball it, doesn't make... That's about half. Maybe a little bit more. There you go. What I do, I use my hands, don't be afraid. It doesn't take long, we're almost done. Pretty soon we're going to eat it.
And how many
Does it smell
calories are
good?
in each one of these?
Not much. I was trying to figure out, just roughly, about 270 calories for each nice big piece of pakhala, which is not bad. The main calorie is the nuts, and it's healthy for you. You get a lot of protein, very little sugar, and a phyllo dough doesn't hurt anything. It's just flour. Right. So it's a nice, healthy. You could eat 2, 3 of them as desserts. The trick I was telling you to have better control is you lay right against there. So you got to line up, then you pull it forward. Just lays down real nice and neat. And actually, this one is easier to control. There you go. Now, this one is tricky because it moves, so I'll hold it here, and I'll go like this. The basic recipe has always been like this. The only thing I try to do is to cut the butter down to half. Instead of 2 cups, you're going to make it with 1 cup. And when you eat it, you will never know the difference. There's only 1 cup of butter.
So every time you come over the top.
Yeah, well, you use the side of the tray to guide your, the sheets are a little bit longer, which is good. Usually they're shorter, but we end up with some in the side. So this is the second one.
Is there anything you can do that's wrong? You're showing me what to do, but is there something I can do that's going to be
No, I mean, this
problem?
is basic, pretty basic once you got the hang of it. No, the only thing you could do wrong is open this up and you don't have anything ready, so I went through the ingredients first. You might forget something, you turn around to get it done. By the time you come back, this is all dried up and it'll break. You can't even hold it.
Right.
So it's the only thing. Now, you know this is the rest you're going to use. Very simple. Do the same thing again. I use a lot of nuts. You could use less nuts, probably, and but I like the taste of nuts, mostly when they're roasted with the cinnamon a little bit in it. Sugar, it tastes real good.
Well, Maurice, now that we've done 22 layers, show me the next step.
Well, what I'm doing now, I'm putting the egg yolk and cream glaze on it. This is going to bring the color out of the oven. Like I mentioned before, you don't have to do it, but this is just the finishing touches. It'll make a nice and glazy, just like choreg, that nice brown gold look. Again, when we're eating, we want the looks also. We're eating also for our eyes. So this will make it with the almonds. That's going to really show it up. Now, the only trickiest part we're going to do now, tricky, it's kind of sticky, you got to move carefully, is to cut those diamond shapes. I'll turn the tray like this. First, we're going to cut straight lines, then the ones in diagonal. I found out this thin knife works a lot better. You could use a knife like this, and a lot of time I use this cutter this way, it works a lot better, stops the dough from sticking. So I'm going to do a little bit, you could try it. This knife helps because it's easy to find the center. So you don't want to measure it, so this is about the center.
Do you want me to hold something?
Yeah, you could hold the tray so it won't move. So just a sewing motion, you just go back. This will cut it, it's like a razor. All the way down. You'll notice when you get down to the sheet. That's it. We got here. Now this section we're going to put 3 of them. We're going to divide this in 3, so but this is just right? Like this. Nobody's going to measure it, as long as it tastes good.
It's the longest knife I've ever seen.
Well, it'll make it easier. I'll show you, we could try it with this one too. You don't have to go and buy a knife like that. This one will do the job too. The other one is easier to guide. I want to cut them diagonally, but I want it all to be parallel this way. See, like this, the knife, I just put it from this corner to that corner, it fits perfect. So this will guide me. That's not that important, but if you're going to do something, might as well do it right. It gets trickier now because you notice they all move because we already separated them. Excuse me. There you go. I got that part cut. Now what we do, we go this way, a little bit narrower, because you don't want, so when I put the knife, you'll see the diamond shapes, but it'll be just right. Perfect. Now I'll cut another one. Try to be parallel to the center line, like this. Okay. And another one like this. Same way, same idea. There you go. You could use this too if you want. I mean, this is an example. You can put this like this and just push it down.
Ooh.
But the knife works out better. When it gets real sticky, you could do it this way. You could see how it works and just... Or with the knife, you don't have a long knife, use this. It's like this. So you're going to have little corners left. They won't be perfect diamond shapes, but don't worry, they will go first. Those are samplers, so you take the little pieces out. Oh, this looks perfect. We got it cut real nice. We got all these diamond shapes. Actually, right now, this is ready to go in the oven. We got the oven set at 350 for 45 minutes.
45 minutes? I can't wait that long.
Oh, well, you put this in the oven, I got a surprise for you. Look what I got. I had this one done before. It looks a little bit different because that's my own judgment. I put some almonds in it just for decoration purposes. Now, the only thing we have to do, this is cold. The last step is to put the sweet on, the syrup. And I got in a glass jar. It's easy to pour. I'm going to try to cover everything all around here. So we'll start from here. Just like this.
That's the sugar?
Yeah, that's you can actually smell it. Smell just
Sugar and water.
sugar and water, the syrup, with the cinnamon stick in it and the cloves, you remember? Put that on. This looks like a lot, but actually this paklava are going to soak it up. People let it sit a little bit, let it soak in, then we'll eat it.
Oh, I can't wait, Maurice. Thank you so much for sharing your
You're
recipes
welcome. It was
with
my
me.
pleasure.
You're
Perfect.
a master chef, and I appreciate learning. Shachra Galan.
Just like in France.
Are you ready to show us how harpetsies make küfte?
Sure, we are ready to.
Great. I see you've already done some of the meat.
I prepared already the filling. I ground the meat and then saute in little oil and then put some onion with it, chopped onion, mixed together. I am going to put some salt. About 1 teaspoon.
That the white pepper or the black?
I use white pepper. It is ripe. It's easy to use.
Same thing, same.
White is always better. And some allspice. I put allspice more than black pepper.
It gives the taste.
Was that about a tablespoon?
No, teaspoon. Little full. I have to mix first. And I'm going to put some pine nuts. Some people, they roast or they fry the pineapple. But I put as it is because it's going to be baked in the oven. I am a little generous. I say half cup, I put 1 cup.
That's Armenian style, but more than you're supposed to.
oh, it looks better, not only tastes better, it looks better too. I think that's all I am going to put for filling.
I start to make
This I put aside to be cool. Now I have about 6 cups of lean red meat. I am going to put less than 3 cups very fine bulgur, number
fine.
1.
Number 1.
So how many pounds of meat is this?
Mostly I measure by cups.
This
For
is
2 cups, I
about
put 1.
this is about 3 pounds.
About 3
About
pounds
3
of
pounds.
lean
Lean
ground beef.
ground beef.
It's
I
been
put-
ground once
Ground-
at the store,
Yeah.
and then you're going to do it again.
No.
Yeah, that's for kneading.
I bought it grounded already. I
Right.
know the places where they find it. If you don't find it, you can do at home with the grinder and the food processor.
We put in food processor to be easy to open the küfte, the filling, to put the filling. If not, you have to knead half an hour to have a smooth dough.
Who has
This is why
time
we
for
make
that?
in that one, yeah. I am going to put some salt. This little hot maybe it comes okay.
So red pepper?
Hot pepper, yeah, that's important. I'm going to put about half cup of water or less. Never mind. That's enough.
One more.
Oh, thank you. I like to open little fine. I divide the filling in 4 and this one in 4 to be sure it will be enough or not.
Is that because there are 4 pounds here?
Yeah.
If you run out, you can always put something else in it. Mr. Bezjan, show me how to do it.
Well, you take the handful of the custard this way, and first shape it like this. Then you put your finger in and open it up.
No, make it.
So,
You have to take a little bigger.
how long did it take you to learn how to do this?
Oh, it depends on you. If you're clever, you can learn it pretty soon. But it takes time.
Then let me show you one.
One more big one.
You opened already, I open again to make it finer. I put the filling. You have to close this way. Very carefully. You have to do this way. Close it slowly, slowly, slowly.
From bottom to the top.
You can close right away.
That's hard.
No, it's not hard, but it's experience. It's fun.
Mrs. Bezjan, how long do you cook this, and how do you cook it?
I prefer the fried one in corn oil. I put corn oil and a little oil, olive oil in it. I fry it in a pan. That's the best tasty one.
Thank you so very much for showing us how to make harper
It's a
chifta.
pleasure to us to show you and to make it in front of you.
Parev Zovag,
Arif, Susan.
how are you?
Just fine. How are you?
Very well, thank you.
Good.
Zovag Karamardian is the owner of Zov's Bistro in Tustin, California, and she has had her own catering service for 12 years.
Thank you. Susan, as you know, we're going to be making some of the Armenian favorite appetizers. As you know, our appetizers are so elaborate that they could be a meal within itself. So today we're going to be making 3 of the most favorite appetizers, which are börek, sarma, and manti.
My favorites, all of them.
We will start with the börek. I will be making one from scratch and one from commercial phyllo dough. So the viewers out there will be the one to decide which one they want to do.
Great.
So they have a choice, which one.
So where do we start?
We start with the dough. Add 1 cup of lukewarm water. 2 eggs. 2.5 tablespoons of olive oil. 1 1 tablespoon of white vinegar. The vinegar is used to relax the dough, so you can open it with ease. And about 1/4 of a teaspoon salt, which so what you do is you mix the mixture here. You start with 3.5 cups of flour. Then you could add if you need more. 2, 3.5. You just work yourself into the flour.
You know, it's funny, I feel like I'm in my grandmother's kitchen because I don't know anyone that makes their own dough today.
Well,
We all go out and buy it.
everyone is afraid of making dough. I don't know why. It's the easiest thing to do if you know the real technique of it. It's always good to add the water first, then you could control it. So I'm going to start playing with the amounts of flour. Because sometimes when the weather is very humid, it takes more flour than usual. So if the dough sticks to your hand, you just use some salad oil.
Can't wear jewelry when you make this
Not
food,
with
can you?
this. Then you take some flour. You just work yourself the heel of your hand. You knead this about maybe 3-4 minutes till it's fairly incorporated. So what you do is you wrap it, saran wrap, for 15 minutes till the dough relaxes.
So, like, how thick should the dough be?
The dough should be a medium smooth dough. If it's too soft, then the butter that I'm going to add to this dough will not hold it very well. So it has to be medium. Could I have the plate, please? We're going to let this thing rest for 15 minutes, like we said. You need the flour a little bit here so the dough will not stick to the...
Do you have to work fast with it now, or does it matter?
Doesn't matter. What we're going to do is we're going to spread 2 cubes of sweet margarine and 1 cube of sweet butter. Softened, nicely softened. You could leave this out overnight and do it the next day. I mean the butter. Leave it out overnight to it really soften nicely. So get this nice and thin.
What if you're rolling and you get a hole in it?
Doesn't matter, just put some flour on it. That will take care of it. This sounds like there's a lot of butter, but just you're going to be eating 1 piece of it, so don't worry about the calories.
There's no word for diet.
That's right. This is really an easy recipe. So what you do is you spread it nicely all over the dough. Don't be afraid of this. Let them be afraid of you. Just don't be careful either, really. So what you're going to do is bring the top part over to the halfway and just take this part over. Just make sure you get all the air bubbles out. There's some air in there. And just fold them like this. Could I have the saran wrap, please? Nicely wrap this. And refrigerate it overnight. And this is the filling. Put in 2 eggs in here. This is the cheese filling. You can put in Munster cheese, jack cheese, feta cheese, parsley, and the 2 eggs. The eggs are just to moisten it.
Can I take this?
You mix this really well till it's nicely moistened.
So now that the dough is ready, what do we do?
We're going to, this is the final rolling. This is the third rolling. I already opened it once and just rolled it. Now we're going to roll it again and ready to cut for the beret. If you get any holes, just fill them with flour. Don't worry about it. This is not your delicate dough. It's very, very easy to work with. Just don't be afraid of it. So what you do is you start cutting the ends off here, so you get a nice.
How did you
square.
know where to stop rolling? How thin or thick
Well,
does it have to be?
About 1/8 of an inch, I would think, is a good size, because then the dough is too thick and the filling starts to come out of it. You don't want that. So you just cut the dough.
And why are you doing that?
I'm getting all the odd corners out so we get a nice even squares. Just keep cutting them like this. And just cut them in little squares like that. So what you do is just flatten it in your hand, take a bit of the filling, you can just turn it over, make a little triangle. And just prick them with a fork, seal them. Let's try one more time here. You could make them as big or as small as you like. Here. Now this is another way you could do it. It's great for appetizers. See how cute they are? I have made a whole batch here for you beforehand. This is how it should look. You spray the tray with Pam, and you just line them up like this. And you take 1 egg and you beat it up a little bit, and you just brush the top with eggs. And bake it at 350 degrees, I would say about half an hour, until it's nice and brown. Susan, I'm going to show you now with the commercial dough, phyllo dough, how we make our beret. You could buy this dough in any specialty store, supermarket, or any international stores.
Why did you have it in the towels,
The
Ovan?
reason I had it in a towel was because it dries out very quickly. You keep a damp towel on top of it. That keeps it from drying out.
As soon as you take it out of
As
the
soon
package?
as you take it out of the package, we must cover it with a damp towel. That keeps it from drying out. So you cut them into strips like this. I have some melted butter here, about half a cube. What you do is you brush this. I like to make it with 2 strips because it has a little bit more texture. Now you could use any other filling you like. You could use spinach, you could use crab, you could use sweet, some kind of apple, anything you want. So what you do is you put this corner here, and then you bring it forward, and you sort of fold the edge there. That keeps it from opening up, and it closes snugly there.
Looks like you're wrapping up a flag.
Like a flag, exactly, exactly. And don't be afraid of it. Just seal it.
Is this
butter.
sweet butter?
Yes, always. Always use sweet butter in your baking.
You said you could put any filling in
Any
it.
filling you like.
I was going to mention about the spinach.
You can.
During Armenian Christmas, which is January 6th, long time ago, they used to always put spinach in their fillings of of cheese bed egg or any kind of any filling. The spinach was used because they were told that Mother Mary conceived Christ when she
Oh.
had eaten spinach.
How interesting.
So every January 6th, people still eat spinach and
You could
their
definitely
fillings.
use this dough for that. There's no reason why you can't. Susan, would you like to try one?
Sure.
Okay, go ahead.
Let's see.
Why don't
You
we
just help me do it. So you make your
bring
little
them all the way
triangle.
to the corner
Okay.
and then fold over like a flag and then
Back that
no,
way.
wait, no. Fold this edge here.
Oh. Now why do you do that?
So that gives you a little bit of squareness. So the
Okay.
filling will just, no, no,
Oh, look, my fingernail went right through
it's
it.
okay. Wait. There you go. It's corner to corner. It's always corner to corner. Now this corner,
No,
and
over
then
there.
that corner. No, this way. That way.
I'm really scared of this dough. It's
Don't be. And then this way.
so light.
To the corner, to the corner. Corner to corner. There you go. You got it.
The butter is your glue.
Yeah, the butter is your glue.
Mrs. Bezjan, it looks like you're preparing something here. Can you tell me about it?
Sure, I am going to make eggplant dolma.
Eggplant
Dolma
dolma.
with bulgur.
Oh, with bulgur.
Yeah.
Bulgur is cracked wheat.
Cracked wheat, coarse one.
The coarse
Coarse
one.
one.
Okay. Sometimes
Yeah.
we put rice in our dolma.
Yes, yes. Yeah.
That's something different.
The difference is a little of the spices. If you make with bulgur, you use red pepper, red hot pepper. But if you are going to make zucchini, you put black pepper. This is beef, but you can make with lamb, with meat, doesn't make any difference.
Okay. And it's 1 pound, 2 pounds?
For 1 pound of ground meat, I use 1 cup of coarse bulgur.
1 pound of meat, 1
1 cup of
bulgur.
coarse. I chop some tomatoes, 3 tomatoes, 1 bell pepper, to make it softer. Some people, they use only tomato paste. It's better to use vegetable. It comes very soft. I'm going to put some salt. It's about 2 teaspoons.
Okay.
This is imported hot pepper.
Does that make it really hot and spicy?
No, not as hot as the Mexican or Indian. No, this is less. I'm going to put little of tomato paste. This gives very good taste. Or not, you are going to make more juicy and chop too much tomatoes. That's enough. This gives very good taste for it. My hands is washed already. I only mix it. I don't need it. And if you don't mix very well, it comes salty one corner, salted the other corner. I think it's enough. It's better to taste, to be sure.
I was just going to say, how do you know it's enough?
I have to taste a small piece.
My grandmother used to eat it like that.
No, it's good. And mostly they put the lemon juice on the top. It's better to put little inside. It comes tastier. It's about 1 lemon. That's enough. Now we are going to fill the vegetables.
Well, what is done? Can I help you, Alice?
Oh, thank you. I prepared the filling of dolma already.
All right.
I start to fill, and then you can show how to core
All
zucchini
right.
and eggplant to Suzanne.
Okay. Now, I cut the zucchini. And then I just make the skins like in order to take the juice inside the zucchini.
That helps the juice stay inside of it?
Inside, yeah.
How come?
It comes, the juice enters through the skin, through the skin. And then I put the salt and put aside, because without the salt, it breaks.
When you scoop it, it'll
Yeah.
break?
Yeah, it breaks. When I put in the salt, it never breaks when you coat it.
Comes soft.
Oh, I've never heard that before. That must be a real
Well,
top secret.
Well, that is a secret. Just for the zucchini. While this is, I wait a little bit, I start with the eggplant. Eggplant, I core with the knife. This is the way I core it.
That's really hard to do, isn't it?
No, it is not hard, only you have to accustom.
It's easy for him.
Practice. Because I usually do it with a spoon.
No,
I put a spoon in there, I try to dig it out.
zucchini we make with this one, but this one with the knife. And to clean it with the quarters. This is the way.
Really nice. Is this ready to be stuffed now?
Yep.
You don't go over the top, do you? Do you leave some room here? Or should I fill
You
it
press
some more?
like this and you see very little more.
Little more?
Very little, not too much. If you put too much, they will come out. That's too much, I think.
Okay. All right.
Yes. It's very nice.
To core it the zucchini.
You can leave there.
If we put madzun on ours, yogurt, on top of it,
We put for zucchini.
just the zucchini?
For the zucchini, not for the eggplant.
Well, we pour the madzun on all of it, and then any juice that's in there, you
The
have to have the
zucchini,
bread.
Yeah.
before filling, you put on the salt, little bit of black pepper, and just put it in order to keep the taste of
Zucchini.
the beef or the filling.
Salt and pepper in the bottom of the
Yes.
zucchini?
No, no.
Yes, in the beginning.
Inside the salt, some black pepper, then you just make this way and put it aside, then you fill it.
Just the zucchini?
Yeah, for the zucchini, not for the eggplant. Now I am going to core the pepper. All people, they cut this way. Now, the best way is with the quarter.
Take the seeds out.
This is the way.
You know, I have to tell you that when my grandmother taught me to do it, she told me to cut the little
Yeah.
tops off and keep the little
No,
hats.
no, it gives
The
the
stuffing
top
comes out.
very big. The filling falls down. This way, it keeps the filling inside.
You don't put any top on it at all?
No, no. And the tomatoes, we do with this quarter. And this is the way.
If you could only have seen the way I have destroyed tomatoes to do dolma. With a spoon, it comes right out the side and the bottom.
No,
I
And
never
the
do it like that.
Tomatoes won't be too ripe.
look at this.
It's great, it's perfect.
In tomatoes too, I put little salt, and I leave it for a few minutes to absorb and take the liquid out. You see?
Oh my
Yeah.
goodness.
But it doesn't matter. You can do it as it is, but it's better to put little salt in it.
It's real interesting. My aunt puts sugar in it.
Look how
To make it
pretty
sweet.
is.
Armenian way is salt.
Instead of cutting this way, you cut through the top.
It's enough.
I think that's enough.
That's enough.
Yeah. Now that everything's pretty much filled, are you going to pour water in it, or tomato sauce,
pour-
or any of these other things? And then I want to know how long to cook
I
it.
am going to cover little less the top, water, and then put little salt and lemon juice,
Okay.
and cover with a heavy plate. Because if you don't cover with plate, all the filling comes out. After boiling, you have to reduce the heat and cook it about 20 to 30 minutes, not more than that.
And-
Then you drain the juice, and then you put in the plate.
Mr. and Mrs. Bezjan, thank you so very much for sharing with us your beautiful dolma recipe.
Don't mention it. It is a pleasure to us to help to you to show how to make it, how to prepare it.
And give our secret to you.
Zovag, your next dish is going to be Monty.
Right.
That's something not too many people know about. But I do remember when I was a little girl and I would see what they looked like, I always thought of them as little boats. Is it hard to prepare?
Not at all.
Great. Will you show me how to do it?
Certainly. What we'll do is we will take 1 onion, nicely chopped, here. Some black pepper to taste. A little bit of allspice. I'd say about 1/4 teaspoon of each. And some salt.
And what kind of meat is that?
This is ground beef, a lean ground beef, about 1 pound. You mix this very well. Okay. We'll let this sit here while I'll show you how to make the dough. We have 2 eggs, 5 tablespoons of water, 2 tablespoons of salad oil, and some salt. We mix this up together.
I've never done eggs with my hands before.
Oh, it's fun. So what you do is you take 3 cups of flour. And just you work your way in, making a nice dough. You could always add more flour if it's not medium enough.
What consistency are you looking for?
This is a little bit the consistency of the pasta dough. And roll it out. Just push the heel of your hand out and then bring it right back.
How long do you have to do that?
You do this until it's nice and pliable and elastic. I was going to mention to you, when you add the flour to the water, always start with 2 cups and then add on, because sometimes the weather has a lot to do with it. It just takes more or less. This way you could just control it as to how much you want to put in. This we have to let rest for about 15 minutes till we roll it out. Susan, I prepared this dough 15 minutes ago to save some time. So I'm going to show you how to roll it out.
Excuse me, why did you wrap it in plastic?
The reason I wrapped it in plastic is to keep a crust from forming on top of the dough. Sometimes when you don't cover the dough, you have this crust sitting on the top. It dries the dough. This way it stays nice and moist.
You couldn't have covered it with a towel like you did the phyllo dough with the
No,
cheese bread?
it dries it out. This you're going to roll as thin as possible. A lot of people are afraid working with dough for some reason. Just the softer the dough, the easier to work. show you how to cut this. You just cut them in little tiny squares.
Do you know how many this would make?
Depends. Sometimes you can get a whole tray of this done. Probably you should be able to get about 100, I would think. And then, this is a tough one to get all the corners.
Since you might use this for a party as an hors d'oeuvre or something, could you freeze it?
You could freeze Monty very well. It's a great dish to freeze. Nothing would ever happen to it. You can use this for a first course in your dinner entree. Serve it with some chicken broth on the top and also some yogurt, plain yogurt mixed with a couple of cloves of garlic minced and some dried mince. Use it with dried mint. It's really delicious. What we're going to do here, you could help me with this.
Okay.
Take a bit of this and just pinch the ends together, just like that.
There's
Want
a
to
little,
try?
little boat.
A little boat. You want to try?
Sure.
Simple,
Just a little tiny,
just tiny
Yeah.
bit, a little bit of it.
and then pinch the two sides. You could get your whole family around to help you do this, right?
Kids love to do this.
Is there any variation in seasoning, or do you always make it like
This is
this?
the way you make it. Some people use this for soup. Just soup. Instead of the dried version or portion, whatever you want to call it. But we just put some yogurt on the top with some garlic and mint. It's delicious. Susan, now we have enough here to put in the Pyrex dish. What you do is you grease this very nicely, or you could spray it with Pam. And you just line this up all nicely together uniformly. Okay, Susan, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to brush the tops here with a little bit of melted butter. That gives it a nice brown crust. Just brush it real nice and smooth on top of this. Susan, I'd like to thank you so much for helping me with the Monty today. And all you have to do with this now is pop it in a 350-degree oven for 25 to 30 minutes till it's nice and brown.
Great.
And that's all there is to it.
Okay, thank you. That was simple, Zolai. Hare Mrs. Bezcan.
Hare Suzan.
Hiç besez?
Çalışına gelin, tünç bese.
Şad lavim. Yev şad urachem gormek harsniki pilav bilishenek.
Uracha misal.
Specific?
Mayo, siro.
Okay.
To make a wedding pilau, I use 2 cups of Uncle Ben rice. I soak first in water for a few hours.
Mrs. Bezcan, how many cups of rice to how many cups of broth?
Mostly I use 1 cup rice, 2 cups of broth. But if I make a big amount, like 4 cups or 5 cups, I add, instead of 5 to 10, I add 9. I put 9. And if I am going to serve in a pan and turn it, it has to be dry rice. It has to cook a little more. Because if it is not dry enough, you have to press and turn it, they fall down.
So that's the secret.
If it is dry and you
Dry.
press it, it comes like a cake.
Like a
Right,
cake, and then
decorative.
this is the topping for
This
the
is the
cake.
topping for it. This is raisin. I saute them in butter. And this is almonds.
Are they already sliced like that?
They are all sliced. And then I have dates. I cut them into 3 pieces, and then I saute again in butter, a very small amount. And then I put on the rice. I think the rice is ready already. It absorbed all the juice.
Great.
I have to take it out.
That just took 20 minutes.
Yeah, about 20 minutes. This is white pepper. Instead of black pepper, I use white pepper because it doesn't show black in it.
And how much do you put?
Just 1 pinch to give a taste. That's it.
Smells great.
Yeah. Now, I am going to start to put some of the raisin at the bottom, some of the almonds.
Just about half of what you already have
Yeah,
there.
remaining, because if I put too much, you can see the rice. It's better to put all around.
Do you think
Now,
it's
yes.
called wedding pilaf because it has so much butter on everything, you only want to eat it at a wedding?
You can eat every day if you don't scare for your cholesterol. Is it too much?
You're the chef here.
That's enough. May I have a piece of wax paper, please?
Sure.
Thank you. If you don't press enough, it falls down again.
You have to squeeze it into the pan.
Yeah, into the pan.
Why are you using wax paper, Miss Bejan?
Because rice is very hot and they stick to my fingers. This way I can press nicely to turn it easily. Now I am going to put in a pan. I have to be sure to be at the middle.
Oh, you know, I completely forgot you had the raisins and almonds and dates on top.
Aha.
That's beautiful.
Now we are going to taste and see.
And it looks like a wedding cake.
It's really wedding cake, wedding
In
pilaf.
our hospital.
I'm going to add some almond.
It's really special.
You like it?
It's beautiful.
And the butter is enough, I think, all over. Just the same. Yes.
Şat şurakalım Mrs. Bezcan. Asiga şat keletsige terkeret talar.
Oh, şuna gelem. Uğrakın bor siletik.
We'll start with a nice hot pan here where we have half a cup of salad oil and half a cup of olive oil, good quality olive oil. Then you add 4 cups of chopped onion. So you heat this till it's nice and transparent.
It's a lot of onions.
A lot of onions, but you'll be surprised how it melts down. Then you use about 5 or 6 chopped garlic. Then you use about 2 or 3 lemons. Then you mix this a little bit. You have to cook this a bit. Then you take 1 can of tomato sauce, and with this you put another can of water. Wash it down with 1 cup of water. Then you use 1 cup of rice. For every cup of rice, you use 4 cups of onions.
Oh.
And you use
Can I ask you the size of the rice?
short grain rice. A lot of people use long grain, but I use short grain only because it absorbs the liquid a little bit more, and it cooks faster, and also it tastes better. For sarma. We have here dill, black pepper, mint, cinnamon, allspice, and salt. Now you could use 1/4 teaspoon of each item here, but I put them all together, or to taste, because some people like a little stronger taste, but I think you could start with 1/4 teaspoon of each. Here we have pepper paste.
Pepper paste. I've never even heard of
Pepper
that.
paste, it's optional. You either put it in or you don't. We make this out of bell peppers. We cook it down to a paste. It gives it a nice color, or you can use paprika.
Can you buy that, or you have to?
You can buy
make
that
it?
in the specialty stores. Then you put 1 bunch of chopped parsley for a nice color. And a cup of walnuts. Now, some people use pine nuts, some people use garbanzo beans, but I am a fan of walnut, so I like the flavor of walnut, so I use walnut. But you could put anything you want, but not almonds, because they get sort of soggy in there. So I have to wait here till this thing boils down. Susan, now we're going to roll the sarma. This is the easiest part. What we're going to do here is take some of this grape leaf. These are packed really tight. Sometimes, most of the time, what they do is they tie them with string to keep them together, because a lot of times from the water they expand. So what we do is we can just show you how we can open this. This looks like very fresh grape leaves. You can tell because it's very soft. The softer the grape leaves, the fresher they are. Here.
Are you going to wash all
You
of
have
this?
to wash. This is enough to...
Do you wash the whole pan?
Yes. Well, you just rinse them in cold water. Just go like that. You can. You can drain them really well. You could soak them in water if you want, but I'm just going to show you how to do it.
You know, grape leaves are so important to our foods
That's
because
right.
in Armenia they had so many vines
That's right.
that our food is a source of the grapevine.
That's
And
right.
there's a little joke about our culture where Noah and his ark rested in Armenia on Mount Ararat. They said that he sent out a dove to get something to show land, and the dove came back with a grape leaf in its
How
mouth.
interesting.
So it's kind of a
Traditional. huh?
big part of us.
You want to roll some with me?
Okay. I'm a little scared to. It's so
Don't be.
delicate. So you
It's soft. We're going to be a
please
little
tell
bit
me
careful.
what I'm doing wrong.
What you do is just take one out and spread it open
Okay.
on the plate like that.
Is there a front or back?
Well, the stem usually faces you.
Okay.
Just put that on the top
Stem faces me.
and just
All right.
open it really flat.
Is that okay?
Yeah, that's fine. And take about, depends on the size, about a tablespoon, whatever, of the filling.
Is that too much?
No, that's fine. That's fine. Just make it tight. Make it tight so it doesn't fall apart. So you bring the top over the half, and then the other half. You just tuck it in real tightly.
A little mine is showing
That's
here.
okay.
Does that matter?
Just cover them like that.
This is the time-consuming part.
That's it.
Takes,
Well, if you really have good grape leaves, it shouldn't take too long. You just zip through them. See? One other thing I forgot to tell you is we line the bottom of the pan with grape leaves. You can also throw the stems as you're cutting them in the bottom of the pan. That helps it from sticking or scorching. Use the bad ones down on the bottom. See, these are... Don't get nervous when you see all these things are broken up. You can just put it on the bottom of the pan here.
Oh, We don't waste anything,
We don't
do
waste anything, that's right.
How about the little stems?
Yes,
that off?
definitely. No, just cut the stems off and just put it on the bottom of the plate like that.
You know, we're rolling these things and we're sort of like wrapping them up. They look like little hot dogs or something.
Right.
The real name for this, if you look it up to see
Oh.
what this is all about, is not sarma and dolma as we call it today. These are Turkish names, and it's because the Armenians couldn't use Armenian language when the Ottomans were in rule.
I see.
So we're wrapping, and the Armenian word for this is patavats, to wrap.
Patavats.
And since we're using leaves, it's derev patug, which means leaf wrap.
I see.
So it's just a small detail, but sarma and dolma, is what we usually say.
I
But it's
see.
good to know that we do have an Armenian word for
That's
it.
interesting. Well, once you master it, it's really fast.
I know the older grandmas just wrap them all up.
That's
and
right.
they'd never know
That's
why
right.
it was so hard.
Susan, you did a great job.
Thank you.
Look at this. This is wonderful. Now what we did was we covered the whole bottom of this. Then you just keep piling up till 3/4 of the way in the pan. And then you take some grape leaves again. You must do that because it's very important. Otherwise, after you cook it, it will turn dark. It turns pitch black. The top layer of the sarma will turn black.
Why will the top layer turn black?
From the oxidation, so you must not open this after it's cooked till it's very cold. Then you put this plate, you turn it over. That is to keep the grape leaves from opening up because during cooking they expand. So this puts a little bit of pressure in there, keeps it flat. Then you take about 1.5 cups of water. You pour the water in here. You bring it to boil first, and then you simmer it on a very, very low heat. For about 45 minutes to an hour, it has to be low heat. Otherwise, the bottom will burn. And do not open this after you cook it. You must keep it closed. The plate and the cover till the next day or after it's cold, after it's all set. Then you're ready. Susan, I would like to thank you so much for helping me prepare the sarma and rolling it. For your efforts, I have a surprise for you.
Oh, boy.
You want to reach over and open that?
You mean you already made some?
Yes, I made them
Without my help?
without your help.
My goodness.
See, as I was telling you about the rolled covered top, how it turned black even on the top? I want you to try that reward for you.
My pleasure. Let's see how different this tastes, because everybody makes them a little
That's
different.
right.
Mmm. But where would all that wonderful pilaf be without the most Armenian of dishes, shish kebab?
No, khorovats.
Khorovats?
Khorovats.
Ayo. Can you show me how to prepare it?
Sure. This is the filet, beef filet.
You've cleaned it first.
Yes, I take all the fat off of it. I put this one and marinate it with first the salt,
Salt.
then olive oil, wine, red wine, black pepper, all the spice, and onion. I fill it with the onion, with the shish kebab with the onion. Shall I start it?
Sure. I hope you're going to let me do one, so I'll know how to do it too.
And this one, you put 2.
Should I just do it? Mr. Bezjan, there's one jar here of something you didn't use yet. What is this?
This savory, we have to put it to have the flavor of it. flavor of it.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
So how much are you going to put on it now?
Just about,
You tell me when. Oh.
yeah, that's one.
Okay.
You just,
Grind it yourself? That's interesting. Did you get this at the supermarket?
yeah,
Or an Armenian
our
store?
store.
It was an Armenian store.
Armenian store.
Okay, savory. You know, I notice you do your kebabs. Go ahead. I notice you put it just with the onions, just with the meat.
Yeah.
My whole life I've been taught to put one meat, one green pepper, one tomato, just like you're putting it all on one.
Well, you know, the people, according to their taste, to do it. But for my, since years, I do this way.
Uh-huh.
Since years, I do this way. Even I never use green pepper. I do this way, separately. And tomatoes separate. And to mash the tomatoes on the plate and put the kebab on it. This way.
Is that easier or harder?
This is much easier.
Okay. That's what I'll do from now on. Okay, what is this other? This is ground beef here?
This is a ground.
And show me what you're going to make with that.
I am going to make it with the eggplant, with the apple, and the mushroom.
Mm-hmm. 2 pounds of ground beef. Okay. Lean, I
We're going
guess.
to put about 1 teaspoon of salt.
Okay. And what is this?
Quarter teaspoon of allspice.
Allspice. It gives the flavor. And the black pepper, we use the white pepper, it's the same thing.
Quarter teaspoon of black pepper.
Yeah.
That's
You don't need this.
You don't need savory.
No.
Okay.
No, you don't need it.
That's enough for you.
Mr. Bezjan, can you tell me where all these styles of cooking came from?
Well, you know the eggplant kebab, they make it in the Urfa kebab they call it.
Urfa? Mhm.
Yeah. And apple kebab in Eintop. And the mushroom kebab is made here in the United States because we don't have that. And well, with the pepper also, we used to make in Eintop.
Eintop too?
Eintop, yeah.
Okay. So now what are you going to do?
I am going to start with the Urfa kebab.
Urfa kebab.
Urfa kebab. I put this one this way, and one meat.
Does it matter how big it is?
Just about
Little bit.
1 inch. About 1 inch.
That's going to be very pretty.
Yeah.
Mr. Bezjan, how do you prepare your lulu kebab?
Our little kebab, we make the way of the Eintop. Here, they don't put any onion and the parsley. They just put the little kebab, the ground meat, just to put on the skewer and they bake it. But we put some onion and some parsley and just mix it up. I have a skewer. Yeah.
Oh, I've never seen it mashed on like that either. This is neat. So you squeeze it to make one long one?
One line.
My goodness, you make it look so simple. You know, since lamb is very expensive today, you use beef, so that makes me very happy because with one area of beef here, you've made several dishes.
Sure.
And
Because
you've, you know, made a very healthy meal.
It is easier and faster.
And it doesn't smell.
It doesn't smell at all.
But what I'm saying is I could go to a grocery store and just get vegetables
Yeah.
and beef and have several Armenian dishes,
Well,
which is very good for you. I just need to know how long it's going to take. I'm really getting hungry.
well, it takes about 15 minutes.
15 each one, 15 minutes.
6 minutes, then you turn over. About 15 or 20 minutes at most.
So I can hardly wait to eat. So let's go. And thank you for sharing your secrets with us.
Thank you.
Ertan.
Yes,